afternoon, everybody. My name is Rebembo Chitungo. I am part of Yes Youth Everlasting Seeds of Baobab Inclusive, and I'm joined here by my colleagues today to discuss on one of the most important social issues that are facing us here in Metro Vancouver. Today we're going to be touching on the unemployment aspect. So I'm just going to have my colleagues introduce themselves and we'll get the show rolling.
Hi, my name is Kuda. I'm also part of the Baobab Inclusive part group called Youth Everlasting Seeds. I'm really glad to be here to discuss this issue on poverty, which is really important here in Metro Vancouver. I'm really glad that Baobab have decided to take this part on.
Hi everybody, my name is Angie and I'm part of the Yes group and I'm really grateful to be here.
Alright, so first of all, this program or this project that we're doing was not done to downgrade our community. More, it's to educate the new coming youth that are coming as immigrants here, because we know that as immigrants, we have a lot of high expectations about what we call the diaspora. You know, when we leave our countries and we expect to see certain things, or we expect to see certain things in certain ways. So this is just to educate them that they may know that, you know, when they come here, they may not be shocked to see these little things here and there. So coming to unemployment. What would you guys think is the main cause of unemployment, or let's just say the nits and bits of the causes of unemployment in our community today?
From experience at least, I believe that unemployment is mainly caused by a lack of experience, which is a catch-22 to most of the people really. I would say youth and the immigrants. You lack that experience, but you also need that first step. So it's a catch-22 and it's difficult to break unless you know someone.
That's true.
Another point I'd like to touch on is lack of skills and lack of education. A lot of people do not have those skills, hence the experience. And they also don't have that education.
But if somebody will come to you and they tell you, well, I'm not employed because there are no jobs out there, what would you view that point as?
There's no jobs for people who don't know someone in the field. You may say that. So if you don't know someone in the banking world, there's almost no job for you in the banks. So for some people, there really isn't any jobs for them out there.
Okay, so in other words, it's about who you know, right?
Period.
Okay, that's good.
I also feel that people should go out there and look for jobs. They should not expect jobs to just come to them. You should, you know, have your resume ready, put them out there. Doesn't matter how many, you just put them out there and hopefully one day you will get employment.
I know you mentioned the aspect of education, right? So what about those people that have their education, but they're still not getting jobs?
That's a very good question, because I know a couple of people in that same situation. They have that degree, but they end up getting a retail job, which most people who just came out of high school are getting type of job. So you wonder, why did I go to school for? Why did I spend that much money when I was going to school? Because at the same time, this person who's just coming out of high school is working the same job that I'm working.
That's so true.
So now I feel like my degree was just basically a waste of time. So.
I think as much as people are getting educated, there's so much competition. Everybody has a degree, everybody has their masters, everybody has that small education, and we're running for the same jobs. So competition becomes very high and very tight. But I should just tell people not to give up. Yes.
I think what I would tell people is to start your own business. I do believe that start something, find your talents, see what you're good at, and put that to use, really, put that to
That's
use.
true. Yeah, that's very true. And then you also have those people that are telling you that education is expensive here, right?
Right, exactly. And if you're an immigrant who comes here and you find it very expensive to go to school, you have to drop out sometimes.
Yes, I also want to touch on that. Education is very expensive in terms of, mostly here in education, you have to do like full-time education. That way you cannot work. And if you work, you're working very minimum hours. So you are not able to, have capital for your education or, your daily living expenses. So it becomes very expensive for immigrants or just international students, even for people who live here as well. It's very expensive for them. So that's why you also see that so many people are not educated because of that aspect of, expensive education.
Yeah, that's very true. I like that you mentioned the international student aspect, because as immigrants, like, I know they pay so much more compared to the local students. And in some instances, I have actually seen a lot of international students to say dropping out of school because they can't afford it, you know?
I agree. I mean, at the end of the day, we just have to know that no school, no job, which leads to unemployment, which leads to poverty.
That's very
Like,
true.
it's just a long chain that
It just leads.
once you talk about poverty, you completely forget where it's actually coming from, the fact that education is expensive. So I think there's one long chain that you can really see where it's starting from. But for schools, I think they just find it, to them it's business, right? So the more money they make, the better.
Now let's touch on the people that have no urge or no, viva to actually go out there and look for a job, right? So we want to look at, like, is the home environment conducive for the young adults to push them to want to get employed somewhere or somehow in their future?
That goes back to what we're talking about, experience and no experience. It's a very good system that Canada has, in a way that coming out of high school, you're going to work. Coming out, when you're in high school, go to work. As long as you take that to your advantage, you may find out that you probably don't need to go to, you don't need to go to college. Because if you've been working at McDonald's, and let's say you do really well, you become the manager, step up, step up, step up. Before you know it, your experience has taken you further than your education.
That's true.
I'm sort of 50-50 about this. There's some home settings where they kind of prepare their children, their youths, on how to, get employment, how to be independent. And there's still other homesteads that do not. One, maybe because they're too wealthy for that, or two, maybe they're too poor for that.
I like that. I like
Yes.
that very much.
So it's a more of a 50-50 thing.
That's so true. Yeah, so let's take a look at those 2 points about being too poor and being too wealthy. How
But-
that can affect a child and their mentality about being independent,
Right.
wanting to get a job, and that sort of thing.
Yes, it works against you in a way, but in also the complete opposite, it also works for you. For people who have rich parents, successful, and etc., you find that their parents really instill them that I didn't get here by just sitting down. I worked hard. Like, I believe that the richer you are, sometimes it also pushes you to be extra working hard. On the complete flip side of that, if you're poor, you work harder to get to the top. The people who really suffer, to me at least, is, I would say, middle class. They are too content where they are that it works against them most times.
Very true. I like that you said, the middle class get affected a lot. And it's very true because they get very confined and very comfortable in their zone, and they're saying, oh, well, I'm okay. So it's very good. Like you guys brought up some very good points, and
I want to touch on the middle class. I think that the middle class, as much as they're affected, they are the ones who work extra hard because they know they have to work for that roof on top of their head, that food on the table, they have to work for it. So they work extra hard. Unlike the rich who know they will have it anyway, and unlike the poor, they know the government will provide for them. For the middle class, they have to work for it no matter what. So I think they are the most hardworking class.
so let's not forget, like you brought up, that unemployment is just one aspect that contributes to poverty. It's a big topic, it's a big issue, and there are many points that can be brought up that contribute to poverty itself. So I really enjoyed you guys today.
Thank you.
And we are glad to do this, and we're glad to educate and inform our fellow immigrants, to be prepared when they come here, that it's not all roses and rainbows and butterflies. You're gonna see things that you don't expect, you're gonna hear things that you don't expect, but you know what? You have to do what you have to do. At the end of the day, we were not pushed to come here, we were not forced to come here, it was a choice that we made. And let's just get ready and,
My
live our
conclusion
lives.
to this is find your talents and use it. Don't get stuck in the bubble of I want to go look for a job. Find your talent and use it. Jobs can come to an end, talents don't.
That's true. What would you like to conclude for us today?
Find an education. At the end of the day, you'll need it.
That's true. Thank you for having us today.
Thank you.